respected dreamers, those who refuse to settle, those who feel the fire in their chest every single day. I need you to hear this. Only 3% of people in this world ever reach their true potential, while 97% live a life quietly resigned to mediocrity. And the heartbreaking truth is, it's not because they aren't smart, not because they lack talent, not because life is unfair. It's because they never understand the invisible forces that shape their decisions, their habits, and ultimately their destiny. You see, success is not an accident. It's not luck. It's not something that happens to someone else. Success is the result of deliberate choices, repeated actions, and a mindset that refuses to quit even when the world is shouting you can't. I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself, which side am I on? Am I in the 3% that moves forward with clarity, courage, and relentless focus? Or am I drifting with the 97% hoping opportunity will somehow find me? Let me tell you a story. There was a man who, at one point, had nothing. He had no money, no connections, no advantages. He had every reason to quit. Every day was a battle. Every failure felt like confirmation that he was destined for an ordinary life. But something inside him refused to accept that. He started small, one idea at a time, one habit at a time. He read, he learned, he rewired the way he thought about challenges and failures. Years later, he didn't just survive, he thrived. He became part of that 3%, not because he was luckier, smarter, or stronger than anyone else, but because he understood a secret most people never do. The battle for your future is fought in your mind long before it is fought in the world. Most people fail because they underestimate the power of their thoughts. They allow fear, doubt, and past failures to dictate their future. They focus on comfort instead of growth. They seek approval instead of purpose, and they measure themselves against others instead of measuring against their own potential. And here's the truth that will shock you. If you keep doing what 97% of people are doing, you will get the results 97% of people are getting. You cannot outpace mediocrity with mediocre thinking. Imagine a seed planted in soil. If the soil is barren, if it never gets sunlight or water, the seed will never grow. But if you nurture it, if you protect it, if you give it what it needs, it will not just grow, it will flourish. Your mind is that soil. The habits you cultivate, the people you surround yourself with, the actions you take every single day, they determine whether you remain small or become extraordinary. The question is, are you willing to feed your mind with the nutrients of success, or will you let it starve in the comfort of what's familiar? Here's another truth most people refuse to admit. The fear of failure is the silent assassin of dreams. It's the reason brilliant ideas die in notebooks, the reason potential is buried beneath excuses, and the reason most people never step into the life they were meant to live. But the 3%, they embrace fear. They stare it down. They turn it into fuel. Every no, every setback, every mistake becomes a stepping stone, not a tombstone. They understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of success. And I want to be clear, this isn't a speech to make you feel bad about being part of the 97%. This is a wake-up call. Because deep down, I know you feel it too, the yearning, the whisper of greatness, the knowing that life can be more than ordinary. That voice inside you, however quiet it may be, is your invitation to join the 3%, to step off the treadmill of mediocrity, and to start creating a life that doesn't just feel good but feels meaningful. Success leaves clues. Look around at the people who achieved greatness. It wasn't magic, it wasn't luck. It was strategy, discipline, and an unwavering belief in themselves when no one else believed. And here's what's most important. You can learn their strategies, you can adopt their habits, you can cultivate their mindset, but first, you have to decide. You have to make the choice to refuse the ordinary, to refuse the easy path, and to commit to growth, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's lonely, even when it seems impossible. Because the truth is, the world doesn't reward wishes, it rewards action. It doesn't reward excuses, it rewards courage. It doesn't reward intention, it rewards executi on. And that is why only 3% succeed. They do what the 97% won't. They sacrifice what the 97% cling to. They endure what the 97% flee from. And every single day, they take steps, no matter how small, toward a vision that most people can't even imagine. And now, I want you to reflect deeply. Ask yourself, what part of me is still choosing comfort over growth? What part of me is still letting fear control my future? What part of me is still okay with being average when I know, deep down, I can be extraordinary? The answer to these questions will define whether you remain in the 97% or whether you rise to the 3%. Let me take you even deeper. The 97% fail not because they lack opportunities. They fail because they fail to recognize the invisible barriers they built around themselves. These barriers aren't walls of steel. They're whispers in the mind, subtle sabotages disguised as reality. They tell you, you're not ready, it's too risky, wait for the right time. And the 97% listen. They obey. They stay small. Meanwhile, the 3%, they hear the same voice, but they learn to talk back. They say, I may not be ready, but I will prepare. It may be risky, but I will adapt. There may never be a perfect time, so I will make this moment perfect. There's a story of a woman who dreamed of starting her own business. She had no experience, no investors, no safety net. Everyone around her told her to be realistic, to keep her day job, to settle. But she couldn't settle. Deep inside, E felt the pull of her purpose, the whisper that said, this is yours, don't ignore it. She began small, just 1 hour a day, just one step toward her vision. She studied, she practiced, she failed, she got back up. And years later, she built a company that changed lives, including her own. What made the difference? She refused to let fear dictate her destiny. That is the hallmark of the 3%. Here's something most people never understand. Your comfort zone is your enemy. It feels safe, it feels familiar, it feels like home, but it's actually a cage. The moment you prioritize comfort over growth, you start sliding toward the 97%. The 3% understand that growth is uncomfortable, growth is messy, growth is painful, but it's the only path to transformation. They seek discomfort like a treasure because they know it is where the magic happens. And here's a painful truth. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they quit too soon. The world is full of stories of people who gave up one step before their breakthrough, one more attempt, one more day of discipline, one more refusal to quit. That's all it takes to move from the 97% to the 3%, but the majority give up. They convince themselves that their effort isn't enough, that life isn't fair, that success is for other people. And as long as you tell yourself those lies, you will remain part of the 97%. But the 3%, they see life differently. They understand that every setback is a lesson, every criticism is a goo. Every challenge is a test, and each of these is an opportunity to rise higher. They don't see obstacles as reasons to quit. They see them as invitations to grow. They cultivate patience without losing urgency. They embrace uncertainty without losing vision. And they persist even when the world doubts them. Let me share a powerful concept with you. Your environment shapes your destiny. If you spend your days surrounded by people who doubt you, environments that drain you, and information that limits you, you will slowly sink into the 97%. But if you surround yourself with mentors, with visionaries, with people who push you to grow, your mindset will shift. You will start to think differently. You will start to act differently. You will start to become part of the 3%. And the incredible part is, it doesn't require superhuman talent. It requires intentional choices. You may be thinking, I don't have what it takes. I can't compete with others who are already ahead. That is exactly what the 97% believe. But here's the truth. The 3% understand that the only person they compete with is who they were yesterday. Progress is the measure, not perfection. You don't need to be ready. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be willing to start, willing to learn, willing to endure, and willing to grow. That is how the few rise above the many. And now I want you to feel this in your bones. Everything you want. Financial freedom, meaningful relationships, personal fulfillment, the Ife that makes your heart sing is possible. It is possible for you, but it is only possible if you refuse the path of least resistance. It is only possible if you reject excuses, reject fear, reject the limiting beliefs that have been handed down to you, sometimes unknowingly, by family, society, and even yourself. The path to the 3% requires courage, clarity, and relentless action. Ask yourself, what am I willing to sacrifice today to become extraordinary tomorrow? What habits will I leave behind? What fears will I face head on? The 97% will continue to make excuses, to blame, to wait. But you, if you decide, can be part of the 3%. You can choose the path of courage, persistence, and unwavering belief in your potential. You can start shaping your destiny now, today, in this moment. Now, let's get brutally honest. One of the biggest reasons 97% fail is because they confuse busyness with progress. They fill their days with activity, scrolling, talking, planning, worrying, but very little of it actually moves them closer to their goals. The 3% understand that action alone is not enough. It's deliberate, focused action that counts. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters consistently with purpose. There's a man I know who once spent years climbing the corporate ladder. Every day was busy. Meetings, emails, deadlines, endless tasks. Yet at the end of the day, he felt empty, stuck, and frustrated. Then he made a choice. He shifted from doing what was expected to doing what was essential. He identified the few activities that truly drove results, and he committed to them relentlessly. Slowly, his life transformed. What the 97% call hard work, the 3% call smart work. They prioritize leverage over effort, impact over motion, results over excuses. Another truth: most people fail because they are passive participants in their own lives. They wait for opportunity, for inspiration, for someone to hand them a breakthrough. But the 3% don't wait. They create. They invent, they innovate, they hustle. They persist when no one is watching. They understand a simple law: the universe rewards those who take action, not those who wait for permission. And here's the secret. Many never teach you. Your beliefs create your reality. The 97% allow limiting beliefs: I'm not good enough, I don't have what it takes, success is for other people, to dictate their choices. The 3% cultivate empowering beliefs instead. They feed their minds with thoughts of possibility, abundance, and growth. They visualize their success, they affirm their worth, and they act as if their dreams are inevitable. And slowly, the world begins to bend to their mindset. I want you to imagine something for a moment. Picture your life 5 years from now. Will you be in the 97%, stuck in the same patterns, the same routines, the same struggles? Or will you be part of the 3%, living a life of purpose, passion, and fulfillment, a life that you designed with intention? The answer depends on the choices you make today, not tomorrow, not next week, today. Here's the challenge most people never overcome: they are their own worst enemy. They sabotage their own dreams with self-doubt, distraction, and indecision. They let the opinions of others outweigh their own inner guidance. They cling to fear like it's a friend, even when it's holding them back. The 3% do the opposite. They cultivate courage. They embrace discomfort. They become their own biggest supporter. They understand that nobody is going to hand them success. They must claim it. Let me tell you something powerful. Failure is inevitable. Mistakes will happen. Setbacks will strike. But here's the distinction. The 97% see failure as proof they're not meant to succeed, while the 3% see failure as proof they are learning, growing, and moving closer to their goals. One person gives up. The other adapts. One wall stops them. The other finds a way over, under, or through. That is the invisible line that separates the 3% from the 97%. And this is the moment you must decide. Will you be one of the 97%, drifting through life hoping for luck, waiting for someone to rescue you? Or will you be one of the 3%, taking full responsibility, committing to growth, and refusing to accept anything less than your extraordinary potential? The difference is not talent, not intelligence, not luck. It is mindset. It is the willingness to do what most won't, to endure what most flee, and to believe in yourself when no one else does. I want you to feel this in your bones. The 3% aren't superhuman. They aren't born with special gifts. They are ordinary people who made extraordinary choices over and over, in moments that felt small, in decisions that felt invisible at the time. That's the beauty of it. It's not about one giant leap. It's about countless small, consistent steps. And each step, repeated over time, compounds into results most people can't even imagine. Ask yourself, what small step can I take today that the 97% won't take? What habit can I start now that will shape my future? What thought can I believe in today that will rewrite the story of my life? Because your greatness doesn't wait. Your opportunity doesn't wait. The 3% don't wait. And neither should you. Now, let's bring it all together. The 3% succeed because they understand a truth most people never see. Life is not fair, but it is predictable. The same principles, the same laws, the same patterns that create success for one person can create success for you if you choose to act. It's not luck. It's not chance. It's alignment. Alignment of your thoughts, your actions, and your persistence. The 97% drift through life misaligned, reacting to circumstances, hoping life will reward them. The 3% design their life with intention, knowing that alignment is power, consistency is progress, and belief is unstoppable. Think about the people who inspire you, the ones who achieve more than you thought possible. Every single one of them started exactly where you are right now. They had fears, doubts, failures, and uncertainty. What separated them from the 97% wasn't talent, it was the decision to refuse mediocrity, to embrace struggle, to persist when others quit. They became masters of their own mind, architects of their own destiny, and you can too. Here's another uncomfortable truth. Time will not wait for you to figure it out. Life will keep moving, opportunities will pass, and if you remain in the 97%, you will look back years from now with regret, wondering why you didn't start sooner. But the 3% know this secret. They act now. They understand that every day is a gift, every moment an opportunity to create, and every challenge a doorway to growth. They don't wait for permission. They don't wait for the perfect moment. They take action and make the moment perfect. And here's the beauty of it. Once you step into the 3%, your life begins to transform in ways you never imagined. Doors open, opportunities multiply, and people who were once distant begin to align with your vision, not because the universe is fair, but because you are showing up as someone who refuses to settle, someone who refuses to quit, someone who has decided that their life will not be ordinary. And that decision, simple, small, yet profound, is what separates the few from the many. I want you to feel this right now, the power to change your life, to break free from the chains of mediocrity, to rise above the 97%. It's already inside you. You have the same mind, the same capacity, the same potential that the most successful people on the planet have. What you need is clarity, courage, and commitment. What you need is the willingness to do what most people won't do, to endure what most people won't endure, and to persist when most people would give up. That is the path to the 3%. That is the path to your extraordinary life. Remember, the 3% don't wait for motivation. They create it. They don't wait for the perfect plan. They start imperfectly and adjust. They don't wait for confidence. They act and confidence grows. And slowly, day by day, thought by thought, action by action, they carve a life that most people dream about but never achieve. And here's the most important part. This is not about anyone else. This is about you. Your choices, your habits, your mindset, your courage, your persistence. So I ask you, which side of history will you be on? Will you drift with the 97%, making excuses, hiding in comfort, waiting for luck? Or will you rise to the 3%, embracing discomfort, taking responsibility, mastering your mind, and creating the life you were born to live? The choice is yours, and the power of that choice is in this moment, right now. Because if you act today, the 3% will no longer be a distant story. They will become your reality, the life you imagine, the person you long to become, the success you deserve. They are waiting for you, but only if you step up, only if you commit, only if you refuse to be ordinary. Respected dreamer, hear me clearly. The line between the 3% and the 97% is thinner than you think. It is not drawn by talent, by opportunity, or by luck. It is drawn by the choices you make in this very moment. It is drawn by the courage you summon when fear whispers in your ear. It is drawn by the action you take when everyone else is waiting. Every step you take toward growth, every risk you embrace, every fear you confront, it compounds into a life beyond your wildest imagination. The 97% will continue to live ordinary lives, hoping for change, wishing for miracles, waiting for someone to rescue them from the circumstances they created. But the 3%, they create their own miracles. They shape their own destiny. They rise from failure. They turn obstacles into opportunities, and they refuse to let their dreams die quietly in the shadows of doubt. And you, right now, have a choice. You can stay where you are, comfortable in mediocrity, letting life pass by without ever realizing the fullness of your potential. Or you can step forward into the 3%, embracing every challenge ever. With setback, every moment as a chance to become extraordinary. You can rise above fear, above limitation, above the ordinary expectations of the world, and in doing so, you can claim the life that is waiting for you. The power is in your hands. The opportunity is here. The moment is now. Decide today that you will refuse the ordinary. Decide today that you will embrace the struggle, the discomfort, the uncertainty, because you know it is shaping you into something greater. Decide today that you will be part of the 3%, the few who rise, who persist, who endure, and who triumph, because the truth is simple but profound. Greatness is not reserved for the chosen few. It is available to those who dare to choose it, to those who refuse to quit, to those who believe in themselves when no one else does. And that, my friend, can be you. Not tomorrow, not someday. Today, rise. Take action. Step into the 3%. Your extraordinary life is waiting, and it will not wait forever.